I've given the command. They're anticipating some sort of positive action that comes with it. Audio comprehension itself is a challenge.
Try not to have way too many direction following targets. Keep it 3. Give me open. Come here. Mommy give you a hug. What would you say some of the 3 simple direction following activity they can do? We can keep it simple. We can keep it relevant to our child life. Another thing is it has to be, I found to be very helpful when the skill is actually within the child skill repertoire. It's not a new skill, and your child is able to perform that skill. If the child has never put the shoes away, and you probably have to teach it first, and then you cannot kind of blame the child that he or she is not following direction because they don't have that skill yet. So in the scenario of a child get home and then you help him or her to put things away, what are some simple things that a parent can do as a target of following directions?
I like this because it helps us to kind of brainstorm. And although every kid and situation could be different, there's probably some fundamental. And so if you tell me if I'm starting at square one, I want to actually pick something that is kind of fun for the kid on some level. I think what we do is we ask direction following on things that they actually don't want to do. And we're just kind of stacking the probabilities against us. So there's not really a lot of enjoyment for a kid putting their shoes away. So I'm probably not going to make that the first thing I want for direction following. I may set a scenario that, like, for instance, I like give me. It's one of the early things, and it allows a kid to relinquish something. And so maybe let's say they give me their favorite bubble blower, and as soon as they give it to me, I take the bubbles and then I blow them and spray them all the way across. And so what I've done is I've given the command. So the command, hey, give me. And now they're anticipating some sort of positive action that comes with it. I think could kind of help to maybe build that bridge. And then maybe I can ask, once that's established and they understand give me and they give it to you willingly, now you can take give me into other activities. So give me is one. There's multiple ways to use give me, but that's something that kids always have something in their hands that they should or should not have. And so to me, that's always a strong one as a good one to set up the environment to ask. So give me is definitely one. You can say bring me. There's a couple of different sayings, but pick something that you and the family are going to say a consistent word. I think is an enjoyable one. In terms of a second brainstorm, this is where it depends kind of on the family, but I want to either bring a kid near the environment where food is near, if they like food, right? So that's a contingency. Or I want a direction following that brings them towards a good physical activity. So maybe the direction following is going outside because there's a chance to go play, or come here, but come here because we're going to go listen to some music. I always think building that bridge initially, because now when you say the words, think what happens. You say the words come here, the kid goes, we're going to play the sing-along that I like. And so now this child, even when distracted, is listening to the word value and making a direct action. I think is a really good way to build up that skill. Then you generalize it to just come here in general, give me this activity. So to me, those are two things that happen multiple times. And so now as a parent, is really think about those scenarios and kind of build them, set them up for success. I know we talk about that fight for 15 minutes. So that would be kind of in that category. So you can allocate just 2 to 4 minutes with that scenario. And now after your fight for 15 minutes, you would have more ideas on where your child is succeeding or where they're struggling. And then the next day, you adjust the scenario to continue to increase the probability.
And keep it simple. I think it's one of our themes in our podcast is keep it simple so you can manage, so you can track data. Otherwise, it's hard for you to parse out what went wrong. So we are talking about 2 things. One is make it linked to a reinforcer, and put the shoes away has no reinforcer attached to it. But give me the bubble that has something. Or, kick the ball, that's a direction following, but it's a fun activity for your child. And then the second thing is try not to have way too many direction following targets. Keep it 3. Give me open something, or come here, mommy give you a hug, or mommy give you a surprise. Michael, you mentioned about the be close to where the food is, the pantry. And so just work on those three, and then you have some data system to track how your child respond to each. Maybe your child does really well with come to, but not very good with open something. That tells you maybe open is a word your child does not really understand. And that's something we have to teach. Use a different example, multiple example to teach your child what open means. Now, another thing is we have a lot of kids have a very hard problem processing audio information. Like I keep telling parents this is so hard, right? Like if Michael, you said something to me and then once your sentence is finished, I have no cue to hold on to. And you told me, hey, go get something. All right. And my brain has to hold on to that information until I get that thing you asked. That's the working memory. And it can be too much to ask for a 3-year-old, 4-year-old. But the visuals is different. Go get the bubble. Well, if I hold on a picture that has a bubble, even I finish the word bubble, and then the picture is still there, a child can see, oh yes, you want me to get a bubble.
So you really highlighted something that I think we don't say enough about humans as a species. We as a species are terrible in auditory comprehension. Our ears are not as good as our dogs or most mammals or most creatures. And I always like to, that's why when we talk about these podcasts, we try to talk about just humans in general. Because we're like, oh, these kids don't listen. A lot of adults, go to have a conversation with a stranger and see how much you can remember after 2 seconds after the conversation ends. And so I think we just have to acknowledge that audio comprehension itself is a challenge. There's just so many things that kind of go with that. But what you presented with the visuals, I think that is the bridge. So by having just a little picture of the bubbles of things that you want, even if they start to walk away, you've given them the prompt to remind them. So even if they get distracted and start to, look somewhere else, you can point them to, look, oh, it's right there, the bubbles. So little small prompts like that with visuals, I think are fantastic early in the process because there is nothing to latch onto. It's just a thought. And as we all know, thoughts are very fleeting. So because you pick those specific areas of direction following, now you can put little different cards, or you want to say that word in a nice slow way that's close to them. But I think having a strong visual, I think really starts to get the child to remember and keep that memory a lot stronger.
We talk about the challenges being the working memory, and at the beginning, we talked about direction following is not a simple task. It's a multi-layered skills. And then I think the visual kind of have that support to a child who does not have that. The working memory is still developing in those little ones, and give that kind of environmental support for the child. I think another challenge, Mike, I wonder your thoughts on this, is kids who they are so much needing that sensory input, or they are so easily distracted by anything in the environment. Not just they do not remember what mom just said to them, but also there's so many competing sensory input in the environment. And then I think in psychology, we talk a lot about inhibition, right? Like if you ask me, hey, Xueqing, go grab a coffee for me. On my way to coffee, there is something on the table and it really caught my attention. It's a book I want to read. And then I have to tell myself subconsciously, I'm not going to go grab that book sitting down because right now my job is to get coffee. That competing sensory input is hard. Not even say for adult, can't imagine for children 3 to 5 years old and how to manage that competing sensory input. And what's your thought on this for kids who are tend to be visually and auditorily overly stimulating?
Thanks for watching. Are you ready for support? Look in the description below to book a free consultation call. We also have free downloadables from Parent Empowerment Coaching and our quest to help parents fight for 15 minutes. Stay empowered, stay informed. We'll talk again soon.